It's interesting here that she begins with a kind of black and white image. I'm not sure with the red of the pepper on top. I mean, I think that maybe draws our eye to the attention of the subject of the poem, but just as I was reading the print text, I was not anticipating a black and white beginning. It seems a little stark, given the way I was reading the poem, but her voice is very serious in tone. I thought this might have been a poem about just kitchen work, but apparently it's much more serious than I anticipated.
Thick red peppers on the cutting board, and my thigh against the stove.
I love this part because the sigh complements the image, which shows the girl sort of distraught against the stove, and then we see the text, my sigh against the stove, and then we can actually hear the frustration in the voice. She's obviously, frustrated at her father who's taken over cutting her peppers, and I love that we can hear too the peppers, the thick cut of the pepper. We can hear that in the audio that's on top of this poem. One of the things that I wasn't clear about reading the poem was how the subject of chopping peppers in the kitchen related to the handshakes after church, that line about shaking hands firmly. And I guess in some ways the images help me understand more clearly what the poet's trying to say. She's got this artist's palette that has food on it, and that food transitions into colors, almost like the art of presenting oneself. And so that theme about how we present ourselves to others after church and how food is presented was borne out in the image, and I didn't get that just from reading the text.
To present myself.
And there again we see that palette that's brought up, which is a really interesting image to return to when she's talking about it being all about presentation. And then you can hear in her voice this sort of frustration, or, well, maybe not frustration, but just kind of exasperation, like as if that's all it really is, that if it's all just for show. I'm not clear, though, yet on what the it is. Neither the images or her voice have told me what the it is yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. So, I guess I was expecting a little bit more of a resolution to the poem, and there wasn't one in the voice, there wasn't one in the images, and there wasn't one in the text of the poem itself. So in that way, it's interesting to look at how those three different modes are working together to reinforce the message, whereas some of the images help to elaborate on or explain the text of the poem, and the voice helps to bring out the emotional qualities of the poem. Sometimes those things work together, and sometimes they convey meaning on their own.